choose one brush. I choose a smaller one, not very big, for drawing. And exactly is square shape like that. So I can imagine half of the page is for branches. So it's so easy to cut your surface with half and choose a place for branch. As I mentioned, if yours is a square, it's not square like oval or rectangle, you can choose where should be placed for the branches. And even anytime we can fix our shape, especially with acrylic, because it draws so fast and give us a chance to easily fix it. For tree trunk, I imagine something like this place. A little bit thicker for tree trunk. I can add a little bit tone on it. And I'm not going to add these leaves around. I just focus on my cute cardinal. And even I know that there is some branches is placed on the bottom of the big branch, but I will add those later. So for cardinals, it's look like oval shape. Two oval or egg shape are sitting here. One is exactly like egg shape, which is here. And they are facing each other. So the other one is move a little bit, the oval shape toward this angle. I try my best to start with a quick and easy shape drawing, and then we make it accurate little by little. A tiny bit for tail, I can see here. Try to make that. And for the other one as well. I just add a little tone for that to make it separate. And then if I want to make it a little bit accurate, for the top part, I try to add a head on top. It's look like this shape. If you want to make it as a shape, simple shape, it's like that. The head is a little gentle C curve here. Then connect it to the oval, tiny bit line, and then with C curve, again, reach the oval shape. And for tip, I just add a tiny triangle, and then I will make it accurate later. Even for the black part, I can add with the red a little bit to make it separate. The rest, we will make it accurate later by paint. And the other one, this is a little bit separated for wing because I can see a little more shape for wing. It comes like that and a little longer. That connect to the oval shape. And for head, it's just connected to the body with this line. Tiny line on top, a little bit gentle C curve. And then like triangle shape connected to the other side of the body. Like that. And this is a triangle for tip. I add a tone to make the black part separate a little bit. We need a lots of white color. Bring it on center of our palette. Little by little, I prefer to add blue. Even the blue can change the value a lot. We can little by little add the blue and see what happens. And the amount of paint that you premix, it depends on the size of the canvas that you choose. If it's really big, so you need to premix more paint. I'm happy with this value, a little bit more blue maybe. And I recommend very, very tiny bit brown. Please add a tiny bit, because if you add a lot, you can make this clean and fresh color really dirty. So you see a tip of very tiny bit, I take my brown. It's nice to have visible our brush stroke. So it's better to take heavy paint. Heavy paint is like that. You can see on the brush. And then with brush stroke like that, like X shape, left and right, you can move on a surface, because I know white color of canvas is not easy to get rid of it. So just heavy paint can help us to cover it. And even you can fix the shape of drawing if you are not satisfied with that. Then for red, I use pure red. For orange, I start to mix yellow, because yellow it's light and transparent, but red it's opaque and so powerful. A tiny bit red, please add in your yellow. And see you're satisfied with the orange or you need darker. I think a little more I need. And I think that's fine. This orange is fine. This one, pure red, and a little warmer red I mentioned for the edges. So I take again red. This time a tiny bit black, so tiny, like that. Mix with the red, and then already the red, move on with the warmer tone. But please a tiny bit black, because if you add a lot, you can change the red completely toward blacky. So this is warm red, mixed with black, a little tiny bit black. This is pure red, and this is the orange that I mentioned. If you don't have orange, yellow, a tiny bit red can give us this value. Pure red color. I move on top. I try to add heavy paint because I love texture and I would like to make fairy shape of the bird. So I take heavy paint like that and try to make it like this to let it be visible, all the stroke that I add here, to make their feather be visible. So around the chest is orangey. I take at the same time orange to bring it on top. Try to fix the shape a little bit, come out. When I want to fix the shape, I need to be a little accurate. Slowly move on my brush stroke. Heavy paint like that. Let it move on the chest like this heavily, and then leave it. Please not blend it. It's nice to leave it like this because you can already make the feather. And back to the pure red color. I'm going to clean my brush with napkin. I'm not using any water because prefer my finishing painting be look like oil, not watercolor. Then move on with darker tone that I make. So edges a little bit need this darker tone. Even we can bring it out to make this feather nice and more look like reality. On the bottom part, I would like to bring a little bit like that. Even if you see that it's too dark, back to the pure red. Try to add pure red as well. Clean the brush again, this darker tone. Here is much more dark. Mix with red. I'm going to move on a little up. The neck part, it's combination between red and the dark color. I try to use both. I'm going to use the smaller brush, which is matched with the size of my bird, and then use this yellow ochre or raw sienna, and I am going to add like that on top. Cover most of the part with this color. And then move on with this creamy color because on top it's a little lighter. But the reason that I'm going to use the first one, this color, which is darker, is because I would like to make the base and then on top bring another tone to cover it. But I use very less pressure for the lighter tone and try to leave it be visible on top. You see here, it's really heavy paint, so it's completely visible. And I'm not wash my first color. Because of the base that it's wet, it's already mixed together very nicely, and I really love that. But try my best not to heavy pressure it. Very nicely, I try to touch it and make the feather look like a reality. Like that. Then on this part of the chest, I think we need a little orange. So I'm going to be more orange tone here. One or two brush stroke. Even on feather as well, I'm going to add the lighter creamy color here. Sometimes it's happen when you work on one part, the other part is get dry completely, so it doesn't matter. Again, back with the base color and cover it to let it be wet. Then move on with orange tone here. I add more texture with orange and let them blend to the creamy and yellow ochre. And again, creamy color. not much because it's dark part. I don't want to make it really dark. Clean with napkin very well. Pure white color with this tip. Just one single dot inside the eye. And let it show that the shine of the eyes. And then for tip, I'm going to use orangey tone to make tiny triangle shape. The top part is a little bit lighter. The bottom part is darker. So I'm going to take yellow for the top and the orangey for the bottom. It's already mixed with a little bit black. That's fine. It's better not to be dark, but if it's mixed a little bit, would be fine. I make it more heavy and I lose the pointy part. So I need to back again to the blue and add a little bit blue to fix that. So you can see always we need to fix our painting. There is no eraser we have, so we need to back again and bring the sky color to get rid of this thickness. Tiny bit blue with white. Again, with this small brush, I will back and fix this part. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so this is about the details. And I think I would like to have foot around, again, back to black. 2 narrow line like this. Bring it from the body and try to show its cover around this branch. I have to do it later after I add the branch, but I just place the shape and then if it disappears with the brownie color, I will add again later. So heavy paint is nice because at the same time you can bring another tone on top and not let it draw. Move on with this creamy, what's this, yellow ochre or raw sienna. Move it like that because the tree trunk is like a curvy shape. So it's already wet. When you bring this one, this color move into the brownie color. It's already get darker and make this nice texture for our trees. Heavy paint again. And then after it get dry, we will bring the snow on top. I'm going to add this one. For some part, that's fine if we add a little darkness in that, so different value would be lovely always. So again, I'm going to take my brush, take heavy paint with green, and then I try to cover this section exactly with this greeny color. It's just randomly on top, so let me show you here. Just I'm going to add like that. Small line, but I imagine this should be one line as a stem and then cover around with this line like that. Imagine like this should be. These are the branch, and then we will make it busy by bunch of green line to make it look like leaves around the branch. And I'm a fan of heavy paint on top of canvas, especially for oil, for acrylic. I like blending in oil, but I like heavy paint in acrylic. So because of that, I use heavy paint and let it sit on top of the canvas. I'm not trying to make it fade. You already can feel this heavy paint here. Circular shape as a cherries, it's interesting to bring around this this part, which is the branches, busy part of the branch. I'm going to add the cherries with the pointy brush, much more easier. And we have already red. If you're finished, you can add again red color. Diluted the tip of brush with that. So small, circular shape. You can spread different part. One here, one here. Anywhere that you interested to have, please add some circle red color as the cherries. And we need to have narrow stem for that, but first of all, I add cherries and then add the stem of the brush into the paint. And I take my paint like my brush like that, not like this. For snow, I do like that, but for sitting the snow on top of different section, I try to use like that. And it depends. Sometimes when the surface is wet, it's easy to move on like this. For here, it's still wet, so I need to control it. But for tree trunk is dry, so I'm going to lay down my brush very gently with very less pressure, please, because we would like to show that the snow sit on top. We don't want to have a white color, bunch of white color on top. So very gently, you can use it, touch some part. And it's exactly show the snow sit on top. Less pressure. So imagine you want to touch your hand very smooth and soft. Please cover the surface with the snow like that. But for this snow, I mentioned you better to lay down the brush. But for snowflake, it's different. I mentioned take your brush like that and just a single dot, or even it's okay to spread on different shape, but tip of the brush would be helpful to make snowflake. And randomly spread everywhere.